How did people resist Jim Crow laws? Have you ever wondered how people fought back against the unfair Jim Crow laws? These laws enforced racial segregation in the southern United States, but many individuals and groups stood up against them. Resistance took many forms, from everyday actions to organized movements. One of the most common ways people resisted was by refusing to follow discriminatory laws. For example, African Americans often challenged segregation in public spaces, like buses and restaurants. They organized boycotts of segregated transit systems, which pressured local governments to rethink their policies. These acts of defiance were essential in creating a space for political organizing and civil rights activism. Mass demonstrations also played a significant role in the fight against Jim Crow laws. In the 1960s, thousands of people participated in protests across southern cities. These demonstrations often led to arrests but drew national attention to the struggle for civil rights. Legal challenges were another important aspect of resistance. Federal lawsuits against segregated schools and other institutions pushed the federal government to take action and enact civil rights legislation. From a libertarian perspective, the fight against Jim Crow laws aligns with the belief in individual liberty and equal treatment under the law. Libertarians oppose government policies that enforce discrimination and deny voting rights. However, it is important to note that some figures associated with libertarianism complicated this history. For instance, certain policies, like school vouchers, were sometimes used by segregationists to maintain racial separation in education. Resistance to Jim Crow laws was not just about large protests or legal battles. Everyday acts of defiance, such as sitting in the front of a bus or using a white-only restroom, were also crucial. These small actions collectively contributed to a larger movement for civil rights. In summary, the resistance to Jim Crow laws involved a mix of individual acts of defiance, organized protests, and legal challenges. These efforts aimed to dismantle state-sponsored racial segregation and reflected a broader struggle for freedom and equality. The fight against these laws shows how people can come together to challenge injustice, a principle that resonates with the core values of libertarianism.